How Napoleon grew up. Napoleon Bonaparte, a name associated with power, war, and reforms that changed the face of Europe. But before he became one of the greatest military and political geniuses in history, he was just a small boy, born on a distant island, carrying a dream of rising beyond his destiny. So how did that boy grow up to become the Emperor of France? Let's take our first steps together to explore Napoleon's birth and upbringing, a beginning no one could have predicted for a man who would one day change the world. On August 15th, 1769, in the city of Ajaccio on the island of Corsica, Napoleon Bonaparte was born into a minor Italian noble family, well known but not wealthy. At the time, Corsica had just been ceded to France by the Republic of Genoa after years of conflict. The Bonaparte family, of Italian origin and belonging to the lower nobility, became official subjects of the French king just months before Napoleon was born. You could say Napoleon was born at the crossroads of two worlds, a traditional Corsica full of national pride, and a vast France where his fate would soon be shaped. His father, Carlo Buonaparte, was an ambitious lawyer who once served under the revolutionary Pasquale Paoli, the leader of Corsica's resistance against France. But after the uprising failed, Carlo shifted allegiance to France, seeking opportunity for his family under the new regime. Napoleon's mother, Letizia Ramolino, was a strong, strict, and disciplined woman. She gave birth to 13 children, of whom 8 survived, and Napoleon was the second. Letizia was the one who forged Napoleon's iron character and independence from a young age. Even as a child, Napoleon had a distinct personality. Though small in stature, he was stubborn, introspective, and preferred solitude. While other children played, he often turned to books, especially those about history and war, and he was deeply fascinated by ancient heroes like Alexander the Great, Julius Caesar, and Hannibal. These early influences didn't just awaken extraordinary ambition in him, they built an inner strength far beyond his age. At age 9, through his father's connections with French officials, Napoleon received a scholarship to study at one of the mainland's prestigious military academies, Brienne-le-Château. It marked the beginning of a new journey in France. From that moment, a Corsican boy who could barely speak French and had a thick accent entered an environment where all eyes were fixed on Paris, the center of power and glory. At Brienne, Napoleon faced discrimination and prejudice. French students mocked his accent, ridiculed his Corsican background, even called him a savage. But this only steeled his resolve. He studied relentlessly, surpassing his peers in math, geography, and artillery, fields that would later form the backbone of his unbeatable military strategies. Instead of resenting others, he quietly nurtured a dream to become the best so no one would ever dare to look down on him again. After graduating from Brienne, Napoleon went on to study at the Royal Military School in Paris, where officers for the French army were trained. And this was the turning point. In 1785, at the age of 16, he graduated early and became an artillery officer. Around this time, his father passed away, placing a heavy burden on young Napoleon to become the main support for his mother and siblings. From a lonely Corsican boy, Napoleon now truly stepped into a world of decision-making, military service, and the pursuit of power. Interestingly, during his time in Paris, Napoleon never got swept up in the luxurious lifestyle of the French aristocracy. On the contrary, he lived frugally, even harshly. He spent nearly all his time reading and studying military tactics, political philosophy, and especially the wars of ancient Rome. Napoleon didn't just want to be a general. He wanted to become a leader with vision and thinking ahead of his time. One little known fact is that Napoleon once dreamed of becoming a writer. In his youth, he wrote essays, short stories, and even attempted an unfinished novel. These writings reveal a very human side of him, not just a warrior, but someone deeply thoughtful about society, justice, and the ideals of freedom. When the French Revolution erupted in 1789, Napoleon was just 20 years old. But everything he had experienced in his first 20 years, from being an outcast child to an outstanding student to an ambitious officer, had fully prepared him with a solid foundation to step into this era that would reshape France's destiny. The revolution was the opportunity, and Napoleon, with all his talent, willpower, and childhood dream of conquest, was ready. Looking back, Napoleon Bonaparte's path from birth to adulthood was far from smooth. Born on a newly conquered island, growing up in poverty, enduring prejudice, shouldering family responsibilities at a young age, none of these broke him. Instead, they became the fuel that drove him forward, with an unshakable belief that destiny is made by one's own hands. And this is only the beginning of the greatest story in modern European history. If you found this video interesting, don't forget to leave a comment below about your thoughts on Napoleon's youth. What do you think shaped a genius like him? And if you'd like to continue following this video series on Napoleon's life, from war, love, to downfall, please hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you won't miss any episode. History has never been this compelling, and Napoleon still has so much more to reveal. Thank you for watching until the end. See you in the next video.